It from the court and from the other side of the divide. Round 2 of the WNBL tips off with our ESPN Game of the Week from the State Basketball Centre in Melbourne. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday Night Hoops on your home of hoops, ESPN. It is the Cygnett WNBL Round 2 action. The Flyers and the Boomers, Jason Bennett alongside coaching legend Laurie Chiswick. And Laurie, the thing that really stood out in round 1 was the high-octane offence. The average score, 90 points.
Can you believe what a feast we had in round 1? And I think there were a couple of games that were over 100 points. We can see there on that graphic. But it was just the way the teams played. I don't think it'll happen this week, Jason. I think the coaches will have gone back, looked at tape, come out and gone, oh, I think we need to look at on-ball defense. We need to look at containment, split line help, D-trans, whatever it is. And we won't quite see that same scoring impact this week.
It was a fan's dream and a coach's nightmare. And you're right, I've spoken to a couple of coaches this week and they are all about locking down on D. We'll see how that plays out tonight. Well, a big crowd, as you'd imagine, expected to file into the State Basketball Centre tonight. Let's welcome in the third member of our commentary team. Candy Hertz is courtside. And Candy, some injury news for the Melbourne Boomers.
Of the season. Now, of course, we know about Tess Madgen, but now Lily Scanlon on the mix as well. Unfortunately, she has injured her Achilles. Now, they've decided they're going to put her through treatment. That means at least 3 months until she's back out here. They're not going to make any decisions on a replacement for her until they've worked out what's happening with Tess. She's back in 3 weeks. We'll have to wait. What that means is some good opportunity now to test the true strength of the Boomers bench. Let's see how deep it goes. We've got a couple of development players, one who played last week, Paige Burrows, 2 more suiting up tonight as well. Of course, here at the State Basketball Centre, what a start of a night this is going to be. Like you said, very weird for the Melbourne Boomers. This used to be their home. Now they're in the away change rooms, and we're so excited for the second time this season in the Cygnett WNBL. We are seeing the GOAT back out here in front of a packed crowd. It is massively noisy in here, which is so exciting. It is, of course, also the start of the Michelle Timms Cup and an exciting crosstown rivalry. I cannot wait to see how this plays out. Back to you, Jason Laurie.
Thanks, Candy. Yes, Lily Carmody and Taylor Gilliam both getting an opportunity tonight, to development players for the Boomers. They will get to suit up this evening. Quick news on the Flyers. Dallas Luffridge had surgery on her torn ACL last night. She'll miss 12 months. We wish her all the best as she starts out on her rehab. Well, Lauren Jackson, the centre of attention as always, the 5-time WNBL champion, the 4-time MVP, the all-time record holder for points per game with 22. Last Saturday, Laurie, she played 20 minutes for 10 points and 3 rebounds. What are you expecting from LJ tonight?
Oh, it was so fantastic to see her on the court. The fans loved it. You know, while she scored 10 points, I think that, you know, she's just such a presence out there. And we can see that she's starting again tonight alongside Sarah Blitzovs, Maddie Rocci. Kayla Thornton, I thought she was fantastic and did a great job for them in her role as an import, first time with the Flyers outfit.
30-year-old from El Paso, Texas, veteran of 200 WNBA games, mainly with the Dallas Wings, a ball of energy, a super athlete. They're so tall, Laurie, they could be called the Southside Giants this year, but the Boomers, well, if they're going to counteract that height, it might be with the dynamic duo of speed, the physicality of Tiff Mitchell and Christy Wallace. 56 points between them in round 1 against Perth, both so quick and powerful.
Well, Christy Wallace, every time she got the ball, she just punched it up the court, looking for her teammates. And if the defense wasn't ready, she would take it strong to the rack herself. And then running along with her, of course, we had Tiff Mitchell, who had a brilliant game last week, and she's always ready for that kick-ahead pass. But, you know, Kayla George, Mia Murray, really experienced players, and that's a great rounding up starting lineup.
And they've got the wily veterans, Kayla George, Mia Murray, as you mentioned, is working off the speed and the agility of Mitchell and Wallace, getting to their spots. They combine for 32 points between them, some key buckets at big moments. So Lauren Jackson, as I mentioned, spent some time at the Boomers in their front office. Now she goes against them on court. 2 teams expected to be in the championship mix. 2 rivals who love nothing more than downing each other. Round 2 action, our ESPN Game of the Week, the Flyers and the Boomers at the State Basketball Centre. And away we go, Boomers ball to begin with. Murray to Mitchell. Tiff, who felt fine form last week. Out to Murray, who's wide open. Can't get it to drop. Here's Nelson Adota.
Great offensive rebound there. They want to try and get some second chance points if they can.
Here's Nelson Adota. Drives to the rack. Opening points to the Boomers.
Great start for her. Just a little pick and roll. Kayla George finding her easy on that little pass inside.
Thornton answers for the Flyers. We are up and rolling at the State Basketball Centre. George, Mitchell, Wallace, Nelson Adota back to Christy Wallace from range. It's short. It's all Flyers as Rocci comes away with it. Maddie Rocci.
Well, we talked about Christy Wallace pushing the ball, but Maddie Rocci does the exact same thing. She's quick. She wants to get the ball up the floor to her teammates.
Thornton puts the shot up. Mitchell almost has it taken away by Cole. Some confusion between the refs as to how they're going to call it. I think it might be a Boomers ball.
Great second effort by Beck Cole, though, just crashing the boards out there, trying to get that deflection, trying to, you know, get a rebound for her team to have a second chance opportunity.
Wallace feeds Nelson Adota. Back out to George for three. No good. She went none for 6 from 3 range last week. Misses her first tonight. Thornton. Blitzarves. Back to Thornton. Slow bounce pass to Cole. Offensive foul on Beck Cole. Slight breakdown there for the Flyers on offense.
Well, the shots haven't quite been dropping like they did at the start of the game last week when the three-point, teams were just shooting the lights out.
Wallace receives the inbound from Mitchell. Now Murray. Mitchell. Matched up with Cole. Good step from Mitchell. Gets to the lane and finishes.
Doesn't she look confident, Jason? Just in what she does, that little crossover, pull up on a dime.
Maddie Rocci attacks the rack. Can't get it to drop. Good pressure from Wallace. She receives from George. Go ahead pass to Mitchell. Can't control it. Down she goes.
That's what we were talking about at the beginning. That combination. Mitchell running the floor. Christy Wallace pushing the ball.
Quite advanced our floor whitening technology beyond a towel as yet, Laurie, in the year of 2022. Plenty of technological advancements. Court cleaning doesn't seem to be one of them. Rocci, Thornton, back to Maddie Rocci. Inside pass, Blitzarve wants to get to work on Murray. Good pressure from the Boomers. They collapse the pocket. They now pile it on top. Nelson Adota. Good defensive pressure again from the Melbourne Boomers. Numbers in the lane, clogging it up.
They need those floor wipers again, Jason. It's interesting. I thought that initially that the Southside Flyers had a real height advantage, but when you look at the starters right now, it's pretty even. Sarah Blitzov's there didn't have a mismatch on Mia Murray. They're about the same height, so it's when teams start making subs that we'll see the mismatches.
It's the depth, isn't it? Southside can just keep rotating bigs through. Boomers have got Hanina Davidson sitting on the bench. Jackson, Thornton, off balance, tough looking shot, won't go. And here comes Mitchell. Expect her to push the floor, as always. Puts the foot down, tries to get to the rack and draws a foul.
I have to say, Jason, on that last shot of Thornton, Kayla George did a great job of getting a hand in her face and contested shots, and that's what they need to do. Both teams would have concentrated on no easy shots. If somebody's going to make a shot, it's over a hand, it's contested.
Tiff Mitchell, as you mentioned, really stepping up in season 2 of WNBL. No Lindsay Allen this year, no Tess Madgen so far. She's out for the first month or so of the season. You really get a feeling that Tiff Mitchell's starting to make this team her own.
Well, she is, and just what we know what she can do. We saw glimpses of it last year when she had some excellent games, but if she can take the form from last week and continue it on and just play that little bit more loose, looks like Chris Lucas has given, you know, a bit more of reins to her. We could see some great stuff this season.
Jackson for 3. That gets the crowd up and going.
That is just a typical Jackson you know is going to pick a pop. You've got to make sure that you counter that.
Wallace responds. Christy Wallace. Great start to her season, coming off the back of a really impressive World Cup campaign. Rocci to Thornton. Puts a step on George. Kayla does just enough to worry her out of it. Nelson Adota to Wallace. Similar position. She now gets to the lane. Lovely touch from Christy Wallace. Speaking of confidence, she has plenty.
She has plenty. And one thing I noticed specifically about this Boomers outfit from last weekend, or last game, last Wednesday, is that they're really utilizing that mid-range pull-up jump shot. So they are going by their first defender and pulling up and really shooting a high percentage with that pull-up jumper.
Blitzarves gets to the baseline again. There's numbers there in defense. Great representation for the Boomers in and around the hoop. Nelson Adoda to Mitchell. Little hesitation move on Jackson. Can't quite finish.
Oh, she'll be disappointed. She did all the hard work, but look at Beck Cole streaming the lane, finishing off. Great transition, fast break basket by Beck Cole.
Nice 4-point swing too for the Flyers. Gets it back to a 3-point game. Murray, Wallace, Nelson Adoda back to Christie. It's short. She'll follow up her own ball. Mitchell takes it to the lane. She's stripped, and it's a Flyers ball. Here's Blitzarves. Rochi wide open, defensive breakdown there, and a miss from Blitzarves.
Oh, she let them off the hook. There was a real miscommunication.
Wallace to Murray. Mitchell almost knocked away there by Blitzarves. Fouls in the process. So 10-7 Boomers, 5:16 left in the opening term. There's the 4-point swing. Mitchell with a lovely hesitation move. Couldn't finish. Flyers punish them going the other way.
And that's the thing. Both teams are so experienced and so good that you make a mistake, you turn the ball over, you miss an easy shot, you're going to pay for it at the other end.
Nelson Adoda receives the inbound. She's going against Jackson. Tries to get to the lane. Jackson defends the hoop. He's called for a foul. We spoke about her defensive presence, Laurie. We saw it just there.
Well, we did, and just, you know, as long as she keeps her body in front, somebody, you know, she's got such a long reach, and she's so smart. She knows, she uses her experience to be right on top of the defense.
George thought about the inbound ball to Murray instead. She goes to Nelson Adoda. Wallace gets to the strike. Murray open from the corner. Bishop on clean-up duty. Amy Rochi. Back to Bishop. Blitzarves. Thornton. Brackets. Pooch to Thornton. Steps through the traffic.
Again, really good defense by Kayla George. She's doing a really good job of locking Thornton up, keeping herself in front of her when she puts the ball to the floor.
Lima's doing a good job of congesting in the lane around the hoop right now. Murray to Wallace. Steps around Bishop. Tough finish, won't quite spin in. Bishop thought about the give to Rochi, but saw Mitchell was awake to it. Blitzarves. Bishop, lovely inbound ball, inside ball rather. And Thornton with the finish. Great vision, great execution, Abby Bishop.
It was, and it looked like she was going to pass it somewhere else, maybe even shoot it herself, and then she just caught, Thornton just caught her eye. And again, that's a slip up in defense by the Boomers. That's too easy.
So a couple of defensive breakdowns in the opening term from Melbourne. Thornton, super talent to be attracting to the WNBL. 30-year-old from El Paso, Texas, 200 WNBA games, 85% free throw shooter in the WNBA, elite.
21 points last week and 8 rebounds in her debut, I might add.
George to Murray. Mitchell, perpetual motion. Feeds it over the top. Davidson couldn't hang on. Thornton likes the call. Gets a hand in there to break it up. Rochi against Wallace. This is Amy Rochi. Comes Nadia Pooch. One of Australia's most exciting young talents, and you can see why right there. She's going to be fun to watch this season, the 18-year-old.
They made that look so easy. Basketball's easy. Pass, give and go, get it and finish.
George, there's Murray in the corner. Takes on Rochi. draws a foul.
That was a good punch-in by Mia Murray because she's noted for her three-point shooting, especially in the corner shot. So as Rochi closed out to her, she put the ball to the floor aggressively and now finds herself at the foul line.
75% free throw shooter in her 321 WNBL games. We saw her importance last week as a role player. She hit those two big three-point shots late in the game against Perth to put the game away for Melbourne as the Lynx were coming at them. She knocks these two in as well to tie it up with 3:33 left in the opening term.
I'm not sure throughout the season we're going to be able to call her a role player, Jason.
It's going to be a primary role, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Hooch. Carly Ernst to Bishop for three. Not dropping from long range yet for either team really, but Ernst there to tidy it up. And the Boomers championship player from last season now in Flyers colours, or back in Flyers colours, as Tiff Mitchell doesn't like the call. She's bundled over the line.
I think she thought that she got a little push from Abby Bishop, but the refs didn't see it that way. Flyers ball.
They lead it by 2 points.
You'd have to say, Jason, that the defense has certainly picked up from last week. Already we can see it in this first quarter. And the shots just aren't coming as easy.
And the long balls aren't dropping either. Last week, the three-point shooting was amazing. So far tonight, not quite dropping for either team. Rochi against Wallace. George there to lend a hand. Rochi finds a way through.
See, that's tough when you have a screen being set by Carly Ernst, who's going to pick and pop and is a deadly three-point shooter. They just didn't quite help enough, and she found that driving lane wide open as she came off that on-ball screen.
Flies out to a 4-point lead here. Wallace being harassed there by Bishop. Now wants to take on Rochi. Gets to the lane. That won't drop. Ernst the rebound. Brewster and Davidson. Carly Ernst contesting the call. It will be a Boomers ball on possession arrow. Timeout call. With 2:24 left in the opening term. Flyers up by 4. This timeout is brought to you by CTM Sport. Takes care of all your travelling off court so your favourite team can focus on their game. ctmsport.com.au. Cheryl Chambers. The team up by 4 with 2:24 left in the opening term. Laurie Chiswick, your thoughts?
Well, I think Chris called that timeout. He probably just wanted to steady his Chargers. He knows how potent the Flyers are. And right now they've got that 4-point lead. So in this last 2.5 minutes, he just needs to settle things, probably talk a little bit about what he wants to do offensively so that they get a good shot every time down the floor. And then defensively, keep that pressure going. And Cheryl would be happy with her group. They're doing a good job of keeping the Boomers to only 12 points. Again, these last 2.5 minutes, well, there's a lot of game left. If you can end that first quarter with that momentum, that'll take you into that second quarter and good things can happen.
Thornton with 5 points, leading the game. 3 to Lauren Jackson. Wallace and Mitchell have 4 apiece for the Boomers. Melbourne ball. Wallace to George to Davidson. Brewster. More opportunities this season. Wallace. Davidson wants to take on Thornton. Gets to position. Good D from Kayla Thornton. And in the end, she draws the foul.
That was really good ball and player movement by the Boomers that last play phase. I'm really impressed, and I said this last week, that the teams look like they've been together a lot longer than some of them have, and their chemistry and where they're finding each other, and that's only going to get better and better. And as Chris Lucas said, you know, it's defensively, when we talked about it, that's a work in progress. That's going to get better too, but right now, happy with the way the things are going, clicking offensively.
Anna Davidson reduces the margin to 3 points as we approach the 2-minute mark of the opening term. Rocci to Thornton. Pooch. Ernst, lovely inside ball. Thornton with the finish and one.
I love her enthusiasm and the way she goes about her business. So, you know, really just a strong cut, really strong with the ball here and finished, you know, under physicality there. And she likes it. She likes what she does out there. She's really encouraging to her teammates.
Draws a foul on Kayla George, which could be important. They don't have a lot of tall depth, the Melbourne Boomers. So if their talls get into some trouble, they haven't got a lot to go to on the bench.
Well, that's what we talked about as a possible strategy for Southside, is to really attack their bigs and see what they can do. See if you can get them in a bit of foul trouble. A little bit of full court extended pressure there by the Flyers. Something different, showing them something different.
They're out to a 6-point lead. Important minute and a half left here in the opening term here for the Boomers. Mitchell off balance. Not sure what they were trying to attempt there. Mrs. Davidson. And it'll be a Southside ball, an offensive breakdown there for the Boomers.
It was. They looked really bogged down in their movement.
Chance here for Southside. Start building quite a handy little break. Thornton, Pooch, Bishop, quick ball movement to Ernst. Back to Thornton, wants to take on Davidson, steps back, long three, won't go. Wallace, she'll put the foot down as per usual. Looks left, looks right. What she got in support, not much, so she has to pull out. George, directing traffic. Brewster. Won't go, Mitchell, nicely read. George steps inside for the two and makes it. Important two there for the Boomers, margin back to 4.
It is, and that's something Southside's going to have to take care of business. You can't afford to give a team 2 or 3 shots.
Final minute, opening term. Pooch, Rocci. Pooch inside to Thornton, baseline. George tidies it up. Off to Wallace once again. Good 30 seconds here for the Boomers, particularly if Christie can finish. She goes towards Davidson. Southside ball. Wallace and Davidson not on the same page there.
It's been crowded in there for Christie to try and make that pass. Either she's got to shoot that herself, or she's got to make sure that there's more spacing.
It's a lovely read from Tiff Mitchell. Cut across and take that rebound. Set up George for the 2. Wallace in the face of Maddie Rocci. 2 tenacious players, 2 of the most tenacious in the league. It's going to be fun to watch tonight, those 2 going at it. Ernst. Pooch runs into some traffic, turns it over. Final 10 seconds of the quarter. Inside to Davidson. Spin move from Panita won't go. Last chance here for the Flyers. Bishop. Rocci, lovely feed through to Thornton. Outstanding finish to the opening term from Southside. And they're out to a 6-point lead at the first change. It's the Flyers 21, the Boomers 15. Quarter time, State Basketball Centre, round 2. Cygnett WNBL action. Our ESPN game of the week. It's the Southside Flyers and the Deakin Melbourne Boomers. And at quarter time, the Flyers out to a handy 6-point lead, 21-15. Taylor Thornton with 10 points for the Flyers. Christy Wallace and Tiff Mitchell with 4 apiece for the Boomers as we start the second term. Jason Bennett alongside Laurie Chiswick. Andy Hurts courtside. Flyers up by 6. Watching the blitz arms. Jackson straight into the action. Murray. Mitchell against Pooch.
I like how the Southside Flyers have done a good job of picking the Boomers up. They're not giving them any easy baskets.
George. Mitchell. Wallace, shot clock down to 6. Tiff to make something happen, goes herself. Tough finish, won't go. Jackson with the board. Here's Rochi. Thornton. Pooch calls for some movement. Blitzarves obliged as she goes to the opposite wing for Thornton. Rochi, long range shot. Nelson Adoda with the collect. Mitchell to George. Boomers breaking down a little on offense once again. Somehow Wallace managed to haul that in. What can she make from this broken play? Looking to work on Thornton. Twisting, turning, can't get it to go. Frustrated Christy Wallace. Thornton will feed it through. Blitzarves couldn't quite control it.
And we can see the streaming players of the Southside Flyers just converging on them. And you see just great defense there by Thornton, staying on her feet, not jumping. Didn't give Wallace a chance to step around her.
Christy takes the ball from George. Mitchell against Pooch. Nelson Adola looks to set a screen. Mitchell gets the space she wants, but not the drop she needs. And Rochi is away here. She's got Pooch inside. He now goes to the corner. Back to Jackson, who's got a little bit of space. The three-point shot's not dropping between the two teams. 1 for 9 in the first term.
And not much better the second term, Jason.
Not as yet. George, Mitchell. Back to Kayla. Here's Murray. Deep three. That one goes. And Mia Murray halves the deficit. It's a 3-point game.
Maybe that'll open the floodgates for some other shots to drop as well.
Rochi. Mitchell goes down off the ball. Blitzarves wide open. And she responds.
There you go. The floodgates are happening.
Wallace to Mitchell. Ball goes out of bounds. We'll go to Candy Hurts.
Yeah, just listening in to the Boomers at quarter time, it's been a really interesting one because it was by committee. First up, Kayla got in there and said, this is not our brand of basketball, encouraging everyone to really step up. Tess then came in and directed Wally to call the play. But then, of course, Chris got in there and said to the team, actually, we're doing okay, keep you cool. He did say, though, that they need to be a lot more aggressive. They were being much too reactive, not proactive enough, and I think we're already seeing some of that come into play at the start of this second quarter.
Long ball from Thornton won't quite rattle in.
Well, when I talked to Chris earlier today, he was talking about playing against physicality for 40 minutes. So when Kayla's talking about not being aggressive enough, or Chris isn't, that they need to match the physicality of the Southside Flyers, and they need to do that across 4 quarters.
George gave it away, got it back, gave it away again. Rochi, Cole in the corner. Jackson, Blitzarves. Jackson sets a screen on Murray. Blitzarves tries to work on Nelson Adoda and draws a foul.
It's interesting. There's just so many players to talk about on Southside. I feel like we haven't even mentioned Bet Cole that much, how much she's been on the floor, yet she's such an important piece to the puzzle. Sarah Blitzos finds herself to the line right now.
Had to battle a back injury last season and COVID as well. Great World Cup for Australia. Coming off the bench, critical times, played some big minutes.
And she said she gained a lot of confidence from that she realized she belonged there, that she could play at that level, and that she wanted to bring that confidence back to the Flyers for this season.
Marching out to 7 points. Healthy crowd in at the State Basketball Centre as Olivia Nelson-Ododa takes a seat. So Lou Brown is another tallish option. Nursing a finger injury at the moment. Just played the 1 minute in the opening round. We haven't seen her so far tonight. So no Tess Madgen, no Lily Scanlon, effectively no Lou Brown. Boomers' more established players going to have to play some big minutes. George, Wallace. Shot clock down to 4, gets past Jackson. Dangerous spot, then gets her own ball, sets up. It's short again. And Rochi comes rocketing away. Has Cole to the outside, goes in the other direction, but travels in the process. And Maddie hates the call.
One thing I liked about that fast break, that transition, is that Kayla Thornton went to the point of the rim, and you could see the defense having to collapse because she was there, which left a wide open Sarah Blitzovs. Not that the shot went up because of the travel, but that's what they want to do.
Wallace and Rochi, teammates last year at Southside, going at it tonight. Christie off to Mitchell. George calls for it in the corner against Jackson. Two of the greats, the all-time greats of Australian basketball, head-to-head. That one's short. It'll come back to Kayla. She'll get another look. The side trails by 7. Good active hands there from Beck Cole. Picked off Penina Davidson. Feeds to Blitzarves, who came storming through the lane. And collects a foul on the way through. Foul called on Christy Wallace.
Southside Flyers right now are really looking for each other. So Beck Cole in that last instance there could have faked a shot, driven it herself, but just out of the corner of her eye, she sees her teammate in Sarah Blitzov streaming down the middle of the court and makes a nice, easy pass for her.
Points in the paint tonight, 16-8 in favour of the Flyers. It's one of the areas they've really been dominant. Rebounds 11-19 in favour of the Boomers, so they've owned the boards. Eight-point game. Paige Burrows into the action. Another one of their youngsters, 17-year-old from the Knox Raiders in NBL 1. Mitchell tries to go through Maddie Rochi. Cole, Thornton takes on Davidson, gets her own ball, puts it back, won't go. Murray to George. Burrows with carrying duties once again, as Wallace has a rest. Well done, Beck Cole. Picks off the pass, got involved, broke it up. Burrows comes at her to try and win it back. Cole still has it, sets her feet, and adds 2 more.
There we go. We were talking about Beck Cole, what she was doing, a little bit quiet, but still involved. Great pass, great shot. Nice finish.
10-point game now.
Bit of danger time for the Boomers, I'd have to say. That you know, the Flyers, they've got so many options, so many weapons.
This timeout brought to you by Cygnett. Power your life with Cygnett.com. Here's Chris Lucas.
Right, then you go 1 out, 1 shot, they're laying it in their arms. Right, go out. That is not them, they're not the problem, we are. Yeah, we are, guys. Alright, so offensively, execution, 41, opposite Mia. Okay, she's on the handback, she's in the flare. I
think that was a good comment that Chris was saying. It's not that the Flyers are the problem, it's we're the problem, what we are doing. And I thought the last couple of times down the floor, the Boomers looked really disjointed in their offense. They weren't moving together, they weren't letting the ball come and get through hands. They looked like they were forcing some shots, so they need to rectify that. And then they also, at the other end, have to make sure that they're making life difficult for the Flyers.
Offense has dried up, both sides really. 7 points to 3 so far in this second term in favour of the Flyers. The margin 6 points at quarter time, out to 10 as we head towards the half. Mitchell Receives back from Murray. He gives it to Mia once again. George at the top of the arc. Davidson moves. Mitchell in the corner. Needed it, and Tiff delivers it.
They showed a lot of poise and patience on that play phase. It got through hands, there was movement. Tiff got it wide open and shot the ball beautifully.
Rochi, Maddie to Amy. Cole links up with Bishop. Works on Davidson, found some space. Lovely finish, Bet Cole, starting to feel it in this second term. George to Murray, back to George. It's short.
Last week, those shots were dropping for Kayla. Just looked a little bit rushed there in that last time down the court.
Wide open in the corner is Amy Rochi. That would have hurt. Boomers need to settle here. Murray, Burrows, back to Mia Murray. Mitchell inside, George got a couple to beat. 3 now. Draws a foul. Once again, we see the Flyers with good representation in the key at the defensive end of the floor.
They really are smothering when that ball goes inside. There were 3 of them around Kayla, which has to mean that your shooters are open on the outside now. Good strategy if they're not hitting them, like they haven't this game.
George with the inbound. Thought for a moment to Burrows, then went to Davidson. Wallace back into the action after a brief rest. Mitchell. Still alive for Davidson. And now tidied up by Maddie Rochi. Puts some speed on once again. Turns, looks for an option. The option's Ernst. 3 minutes left in the second term. Boomers trail by 9. George inside to Mitchell. She draws another foul.
Just a nice little give and go in that transition there. Tiff Mitchell was bringing the ball up the floor, kicked it ahead to Kayla George, and then continued and just cut hard. Defense wasn't quite set. They were back, and that's one thing about defensive transition. It's one thing to be back, but you have to be ready to play. You have to be talking the whole time.
Candy Hertz was in the Southside huddle at the last time out.
Yeah, listening in to Cheryl, she said the big advice is to keep off the boards, make sure they box out, but most importantly, just keep moving. The good news for them, though, is that she did say that the defence is good. She's pretty happy with that.
Holding the Boomers to just 21 points with 3 minutes left in the first half. Mitchell makes it 22 with her 8th of the evening. Mia Murray has 5 and Wallace 4, while Thornton has 10 for the Flyers. 6 now to Bet Cole, who's getting busy in this second term. Tiff Mitchell, so good from the free throw line, as we know. Drops a couple there to reduce the margin ever so slightly. She went 71 of 81 last season from the stripe. 5 from 5 last week.
87% average, I might add. That is awesome. That's a really good. You know, there's some really great foul shooters on both teams.
5th all time in the WNBA, Tiff Mitchell, for free throw percentage shooting. Just shows she truly is world class in that department. So it's a 7-point game. We're inside 3 minutes in the opening half. State Basketball Centre, great to have you with us. ESPN's Game of the Week every Wednesday night here on your home of hoops. Game 1 of the Michelle Timms Cup for 22-23. Mitchell tries to drive at the lane. Jackson kept it alive, but straight to Christy Wallace, who makes her pay. Boomers back within 5. Cole advances. Pooch tried to pop it over the top to Ernst. The Boomers break it up. Wallace to Taylor Gilliam, who sees her first minutes in a Boomers singlet. A former Flyers development player. George from the corner. Here's Pooch. Some elite veterans in this game and some really exciting youngsters. It's the young and the old right now.
Wow.
And Bet Cole is hot in this second term.
Isn't she ever? She had other teammates there, but felt confident just pulling up at that three-point line as a trailing option.
Wallace, Mitchell for the response. Oh, yes!
That's what the fans want. They want to see it heated up. They want another 100-point game, Jason.
Beautiful in long ball to Jackson, who's under the hoop for 2 more. And suddenly the taps have turned on. Both these teams starting to find some offensive rhythm, or is it fatiguing defence? Maybe a combination of both.
Well, I'd have to say that fatiguing defence in that last play by the Boomers, leaving Jackson wide open under the basket.
Davidson with the touch. A sudden flurry of points late in this second term. It's a 5-point game again. Amy Rocci to Jackson. Ernst back to Rocci. Back to LJ. You can see trying to pop it over the top. It came back to her, couldn't finish. Ernst looks to slap it away. Carly questions the call, saying that it hit the backboard. Cheryl Chambers looks nonplussed. Ref won't change his mind. Boomers ball. Davidson to Gilliam. Great opportunity here for Taylor, who's been brought in to cover Tess Madgen for the next month or so. She receives here, but steps on the baseline in the process.
It is a great opportunity for her. She's a great young player. She's a great three-point shooter. She's got a really good high basketball IQ.
Originally from Warragul, the 23-year-old. Then at Nuttawatting, Dandenong, Sandringham, Frankston. 4 years with the Flyers, and now at their rival as Jackson's shot won't go. Off Christy Wallace. Southside will retain possession with 33 seconds left on the clock. So 15-14 Boomers now in this second term.
Boomers have done a good job in these last couple of minutes just to keep that, bring that margin a bit closer. 5-point game at halftime is, you know, that's fine, but it was looking like the Flyers might just sneak out a little bit further.
It was out to double figures at one point.
Yeah.
Once again, a little bit of a delay here as they clean the court.
Good opportunity for the youngsters, the floor wipers.
Let's get them some mops, eh? Jackson, Rocci, Ernst. Lovely move, Carly Ernst.
Just that height advantage over Mia Murray, just was able to hold her poise and make a nice, easy shot.
Wallace for the final play of the first half. Amy Rocci puts the pressure on. Shot clock to single digits. Foul called on Amy Rocci. She takes out the cats. Christy Wallace takes out our cameraman, who's putting his body on the line for the team.
He is.
Well done. There's his shot, little wonky.
Has to just straighten up a little bit.
Check the camera, make sure it's all good.
Forget the operator, are you saying? Just the camera?
He's doing the work. He's doing the work. Well done. 8 seconds left. Mitchell. Davidson against Ernst, goes herself, Penina. Mitchell there to try and tidy it up. Final shot won't go. Entertaining first half as Amy Rocci pulls up. Well, in fact, she's just blown her shoe off at the end of the half there. And it's 37-30 Southside. Amy looking a little bit sore, maybe just rolled the ankle in that final play. 16 points to 15 in the end in that second term in favour of the Flyers. They led by 6 at quarter time. They lead by 7 at the half. It's Southside 37, Melbourne 30. Round 2 action. ESPN WNBL Game of the Week every Wednesday night here on ESPN. Candy Hertz is with Beck Cole.
What an incredible first half here at the State Basketball Centre. Shooting so well, but also really finding your teammates. What are you feeling out there tonight?
It's just amazing to have this crosstown rivalry, the atmosphere, what we want for women's basketball, and we have such a talented team. It's either your shot or you're passing it, you're not holding it for long.
Cheryl was saying she's pretty happy with your defence, and that does feel like the thing you probably need to work on this next half to break away. What do you think?
100% defence is the key for us this season. Yes, we did a good job keeping them to 30. That's the target, but we need to defend the on balls and we need to get boards.
Coley, good luck for the next half. This is an amazing crosstown rivalry. What great atmosphere in here. Go get in the change room. What an amazing start it has been here, guys. Yes, it is, of course, a Flyers home game, which means the crowd are going mental for the Flyers. But let me tell you what, the Boomers bench are also going pretty crazy as well. So it's going to be exciting to see what happens here in the next half.
21-15 Flyers. It is half-time, our ESPN Game of the Week.
It felt really good to be out there and just, you know, my kids were here and we had a great crowd. It felt good to be out there. It's funny, I actually don't remember too much about it. Yeah, I think probably that tends to happen when I get a bit emotional about things. I'm just one of those people who love the sport. Obviously, the sport has been part of my life for so long, and when I retired, I got involved in the sport through Basketball Australia, and I feel like an obligation to basketball for what it's given me throughout my life. What I'm doing now, it's more just because I love the sport, and when I play, I have so much fun. I enjoy it. For me, I just want to have fun and enjoy it. You know, I've got a job, I've got kids, and I'm playing for fun now, and it's special. Actually, Cheryl called me on my way to training one night and was sort of like, look, you know, I don't know what you're thinking, but when you're ready to start talking about the WNBL, if it gets to that point, can you please consider us? I just felt safe, you know, with her as a coach, and then the club put together a pretty awesome offer, and I just couldn't refuse it. So the World Cup, I guess I just went in wanting to be the best teammate that I could be and help the girls get back on the podium, and I think that was sort of my mindset right from the go. Like, obviously I know I'm not the player that I used to be, I know I'm a lot older, and I can't do the things I used to do, but stepping back into the Opal squad, I felt that I could contribute in that sense, and I just took it for what it was. I just went out there and played. So it's a bit of a juggle at the moment. I'm back and forth between Albury and Melbourne. My kids are in school in Albury, so it's definitely a juggle. It's different. It's very different now than what it was 10 years ago when I was playing. I had nothing to worry about except for myself. Whereas now I'm kind of like, I've got so many other priorities that this part is actually the easy part. I'm really lucky that I get to work in the sport that I love, but I'm also getting this second opportunity to play in it as well. So I'm sort of seeing the sport from all these different sides at the moment, and it's full on. It's conflicting, but it's awesome, and it's made me sort of really appreciate the different roles that everybody plays in the sport to get us on the court.
What a remarkable story it's been. The comeback of Lauren Jackson, Laurie Chiswick. We were both fortunate enough to be up there at the World Cup in Sydney and just witness one of Australian sports iconic moments. That bronze medal game was just unbelievable.
Well, and it's so interesting listening to her reflect on that and how she's playing for all different reasons now. It's just brings her enjoyment. She wanted to play in front of her kids, and that was just the icing on the cake, that bronze medal game for her. But I love what she's doing with the Flyers right now. I don't think it's not important that she scores and be the top scorer, the top rebound. She genuinely wants to enjoy her basketball and to help her teammates and help her team. And it's such a lovely way for her to come across, and it's nice for her to see that enjoyment that she's clearly having by playing basketball still.
Speaking with Cheryl Chambers during the week, she was lauding Lauren Jackson's leadership and obviously just her presence on and off the court is going to make a massive difference for the Flyers, and particularly some of the younger players that now get an opportunity to play alongside Lauren Jackson. Well, it is half-time here at the State Basketball Centre. It's a 7-point game in favour of the Flyers. They led by 6 at quarter time. Got out to double figures in that second term before the Boomers managed to steady a little bit in the run to the half. It's 37-30 in favour of the Flyers. And Thornton with 10 points, Cole with 9, Jackson with 5 for the Flyers, while Mitchell has 12 for the Boomers, 6 to Wallace, 5 to Murray. The Boomers dominating the glass, Laurie, 29-17, but the points in the paint totally swung the way of Southside in that second quarter after the Melbourne Boomers had the advantage in the first.
Well, it's interesting because neither team are shooting the ball particularly well, especially if we look at those stats there. 40 or from the three-point line, 21% and 33%. But the stats that stood out to me, Jason, were turnovers for the Melbourne Boomers. They had 11 versus 5 for the Flyers. And then for offensive rebounds as well for the Boomers. Southside need to take care of that. Even though they're ahead, we know that the Boomers can come out and really be potent and get some offensive rebounds and then give themselves that chance for second chance opportunities.
Kayla George averages 14 points a game in her WNBL career, just 2 points to the half, 1 for 5 from the field, so she'll be looking to lift in this second half. It is the Flyers by 7 points. We get ready for third quarter action from the State Basketball Centre. It's our ESPN WNBL Game of the Week, thanks to Cygnett, right here on your home of hoops. in the second half. Wallace to Murray. 7-point game. Murray from the corner. Not quite. Nelson Adoda. Rochi. Here's Cole. Blitzarves. Cole got really hot in that second term. Thornton sets up for the long-range shot. It won't go. Can Kayla get busy in the second half? Just 2 points to half-time for Kayla George. Tiff Mitchell tries to draw the foul on Jackson. Regains the loose ball. Off to George. Now to Wallace. Shot clock to single digits here for the Boomers. Murray flipped it over the top. Off a Southside hand of Beck Cole. And the Boomers will retain possession.
7 seconds on that shot clock. They can still run a nice little play here. We've seen in the past just a nice little curl cut sometimes.
George fizzes a pass through to Nelson Adoda. Wallace versus Maddie Rochi. Wallace gets to the rack. Good pressure. George wins it back. Boomers get another look here. Mitchell. Nelson Adoda. Uses Wallace. Rochi loses her footing. Wallace into traffic. Out to space. George from the corner. Nelson Adoda scraps for it, and in the end, the Boomers come up empty. Thornton. Blitzarves. Quick from Sarah. Not quite. Wallace crashes in late on Thornton. And it'll be a Southside ball. Kayla Thornton hitting the floor quite hard. Just feeling that right forearm and elbow. Let's have a look.
Ooh, she went down hard.
As Christy Wallace came thundering through.
Be important how both teams come out of that halftime, having chatted to the coaches, having chatted to the teammates, with what sort of intensity and endeavor to start this third quarter.
Jackson to Cole. Shot clock down to 3. Beck elevates, but can't get it to drop. George to Wallace. Both teams still looking for their first points of the third term. Boomers need it from their skipper.
Can't leave Kayla George wide open at the three-point line as a trailer. Nobody was close to her. Of course she's going to shoot that. Nailed it.
Melbourne just hanging around here. A couple of times the Flyers have managed to extend out to what looks to be a dangerous lead. Jackson on the inside.
You have to think Jackson, that's a look they're going to have a little bit of with Adota on her, that much younger, 22 years old, not as experienced.
Wallace finds a little bit of space, and that's all she needs. Thornton, will she take on George? Boomers bench want a double dribble. Jackson. Maddie Rochi into the lane. Rejected by Murray. Here's Mitchell against Blitzarves. Lovely step from Tiff Mitchell. Jackson got a hand in and stripped it. Cole has got Thornton. Feeds it through. Lovely play.
That is such great teamwork. That's so exciting. Great on the defensive end to get that stop, and then pushing the ball and finding her open teammate, Beck Cole.
Margin at 6. Early stages of the third term.
Southside have done a really good job of taking care of the ball that first half. 5 turnovers.
Lovely defensive play there from Lauren Jackson. All ball. Wallace to Mitchell. Back to Christie. Tries to get around Jackson. Easier said than done. Rochi knocks it away, but only as far as George. Nelson Adoda, can she go against Jackson? The strength of Lauren Jackson. Tough shot, off hands, Southside ball.
Jackson was giving her zero space to move. She caught the ball, she jammed right up in her, so she couldn't do a turnaround jump shot at all. Great defense by the veteran.
Game delicately poised. Cole to Thornton. Jackson. Maddie Rochi. off the screen from LJ. Tries to work her way through some traffic, runs into some traffic and gives it out to Thornton. Well, Rochi drew the crowd, Thornton left wide open, and she punishes the Boomers. It's a 9-point game.
Well, she has the capability of doing that. We know how athletic she is, how she can drive it in, but she can shoot the rock as well.
Wallace. The Boomers get something going here. At the moment, the Flyers have got the answers, keeping them at bay. Foul called there on Maddie Rochi.
I think the Boomers could just move the ball a little bit more quickly. I know it's in Christy Wallace's hands quite a bit, but here we see this three-point shot from Kayla Thornton. But at the other end for the Boomers, they just need to let the game come to them. Let it flow a little bit more.
Wallace being harassed. A lovely step inside on Maddie Rochi. Can she finish? She can't. And Thornton goes up and pulls down the big board. Off to Cole. So the Flyers threatening a double-digit lead once again. Cole wants an option. Path opens up and she draws a foul.
That looked a little 3x3-ish, if you ask me.
I was thinking the same thing.
that little hesitation, looking to a teammate, seeing the floor opening up, strong drive and absorbing that contact.
She's made a career out of finding her way to the rack, Bet Cole. Former Melbourne Boomer herself. Timeout called. Candy Hertz, she spoke to both coaches at halftime. We'll go back to Candy shortly. So the message here from Chris Lucas, it's the Boomers that are going to need to do some adjusting. Laurie, they trail by 9.
Yeah, they certainly are. I think defensively, they're just being a bit reactive instead of proactive. I don't see them up in the passing lanes. I don't see them trying to active hands, active feet, maybe trying to get a deflection. They don't move until the Flyers move. So I think they need to be more proactive and try and take the Flyers out of a little bit of rhythm. Right now, the Flyers are feeling very comfortable in what they're doing.
Timeout brought to you by DIY Blinds, designer quality at the best prices, as Cheryl Chambers addresses her troops. They lead by 9. Boomers have come at them on a couple of occasions. The Flyers have had the answers. Keep them at bay. As our leading scorer is Kayla Thornton with 15. The Southside, Tiff Mitchell's got 12 for the Boomers. Mitchell and Wallace combining for 56 last week, 20 so far tonight. Kayla George had 22 last week. She's been well held, just 5 tonight. So the big 3 scorers last week for the Boomers not having the same impact so far this evening. Cole makes it a 10-point game.
And Beck Cole, after being relatively quiet the first quarter, really came alive in that second quarter and is continuing on in the third. And there we see a steal.
Sloppy inbound, and Cole can add another 2, won't go.
Wow, they got let off the hook there, out of jail.
For danger time now for the Boomers. They need to surge again. They've done it a couple of times where the Flyers have got out to what looks to be a threatening lead. Melbourne have been able to rein them in. Can they do it a third time? Mitchell goes looking for George. Foul called on Abby Bishop.
I think that's another reason that Lauren Jackson probably put her signature on the line for the Flyers, because her very, very good friend Abby Bishop was there, and you know, they both played together earlier in their career. They're really good friends, and how great at this stage of both of their careers to be able to be together. Wallace,
Nelson Adoda to George to Mitchell. Can the big names get off the chain a little bit here? Can Wallace start it from Melbourne? In, out and in again. Gee, they needed that.
They certainly did, Jason.
Amy Rochi to Bishop. This is where Southside have been so good. Haven't panicked when the Boomers have started to get a bit of momentum. They've just found buckets at the right time. Blitzarbs for the response, not this time.
I like that. The Boomers were in a bit of a zone there, changed it up a little bit, and I think they need to do that. The Flyers were just getting too comfortable in what they were doing.
Wallace and George combine. Some urgency now from Melbourne. Murray to Mitchell. George back to Tiff. Tough gather and finish. And once again, they get it back to 6 points.
Great read by Tiff Mitchell. She was being overplayed by Beck Cole. Backdoor cut, nice pass.
So now, important sets here for Southside. Rochi inside, Cole in good position, steps out, Bishop, Jackson, big three, not quite.
That's 2 stops in a row from that zone, from that 2-3 zone.
Mitchell, Wallace, Murray.
Wow.
Big moment player, Mia Murray. 3-point game just like that.
That's what they needed. Good timeout called by Cheryl Chambers. She has to steady the flow here.
So for the 3rd time tonight, the Flyers get out to what looks to be a dangerous lead, Laurie. And the Boomers managed to haul them back. It's a 3-point game.
Well, I think the game changer was that zone going into it, and that's what Chris probably talked about at that other timeout. They need to mix it up. They need to do some different things, and then offensively, they've come down. You can just see that nice backdoor cut by Tiff Mitchell. That's what they need to do, continue to play together. Now, Chris right now would be continuing to say, maybe they'll try something else. Maybe they'll come out man-to-man and then go back to the zone, because obviously Cheryl will be talking about the zone in her timeout. It's so great, these tactics. And if you look at, you know, I did some research on Cheryl Chambers versus Chris Lucas. You know, they've both been, Cheryl's been 15 seasons, Chris 16 seasons. They've both won 2 championships. They both have phenomenal records. Cheryl, 81% win-loss. Chris, 74%. So this is great, this strategy, this mouse and cat game that they're playing right now. It's great to see.
632 games of experience between them. And haven't we got some veterans in this game, Laurie, which is fantastic to see. Beck Cole, 13th season. Amy Rochi, 13th season. Abby Bishop, 14. 13 for Carly Ernst. 14 for Blitzarves. 12 for Jackson. That's just on the south side.
15 for Mia Murray.
15 for Mia Murray as well. And 16 for Murray and 15 for George.
Yeah.
So some of the all-time greats of Australian basketball have been around for a very long time.
Plus
teaching the youngsters.
Sorry, Jason, plus our 2 most experienced coaches. So this is what sort of game we're going to get here. Bit of mastermind.
Rochi. Tip there from George. Here's Wallace. The Boomers to draw within a point or tie it up. Mitchell to tie it up. No, won't go. Scrap under the basket. They dive on it. Jump ball. The Boomers really cranking up their desperation in the last 4 or 5 minutes. Murray hits the floor.
This doesn't just seem like round 2 basketball, does it? We can't forget that they are playing for the Michelle Timms Cup, the prestigious Michelle Timms Cup, which they play their 3 games over the season, and the best 2 out of 3, whoever wins those games, they take home the Michelle Timms Cup.
So a foul there called in that scrap on Olivia Nelson-Ododa for the hold. Southside ball. Amy Rochi with the carry. Blitzarves to Thornton. Cole versus Mitchell. Offensive foul off the ball. Thornton's screen on Wallace is penalised.
Well, you always tell players to headhunt when you're going to set a screen, but she just was a little bit ambitious there.
Candy Hertz was in the Southside timeout.
Yeah, the last 2 timeouts, there were quite a few called quite quickly. Cheryl first said, first up, stop sending them to the line was her message. She also said take advantage offensively, try and get the ball inside both to Amy and to LJ. Like you said, Laurie, those 2 good friends, it is fun watching them. They do intuitively know each other quite well. And in this last timeout, she said to really try and move the ball a bit more both sides, expose the gaps and try and get those shots in.
Wallace versus Rochi, coughs it up. Here's Sarah Blitzarves. Goes herself and is fouled in the process by Kayla George.
I think that's a real, for Christy Wallace, that's somebody she has to improve on her game there and recognize when she stopped and just have a little bit more poise when she's trying to kick it out. Having said that, her teammates have to move for her to get the ball open, but we see there, as soon as you make a mistake, Southside are pushing it down the court and attacking you straight away and making you pay the price.
Sarah makes the first. 73% free throw shooter across her 242-game career. Two-time champion with the Spirit of 14 and the Flyers in 2020. She takes a rest. Southside with the bench advantage. Greater depth at the moment. Boomers have got some injuries that we've spoken about a couple of times. No Scanlon, no Madgen, no Lou Brown. 3 development players.
We talk about the bench points last round in round 1. To just compare them, 19 for Southside, 7 for the Boomers, the players that are scoring off the bench. So you can just see the Flyers' depth.
Davidson couldn't finish. And once again, it's the Flyers now looking to extend the lead back out. It's ebbed and flowed all night, but the Flyers have had it almost exclusively. Cole steps around Murray, confronted by Davidson. Wants some movement. It's Rochi. Shot clock running down. Great stop there for the Boomers. With 2 minutes left in the third. They're hanging in. Margin sits at 5. Fascinating to watch the evolution of Christy Wallace as a point guard this season. Just her second or third WNBL start tonight. Murray, long shot. Back out to Wallace. George. Against Rochi goes Christy Wallace. Thornton there to put the pressure on. Feeds it through to Murray. Boomers retain possession. It's off Pooch.
That was better movement off the ball. So Christy Wallace got stopped, and at least she had Tiff Mitchell cutting to the basket, or sorry, Miriam Murray cutting to the basket.
Exciting youngster Nadia Pooch. Just finished year 12, the Centre of Excellence in Canberra. Starts her professional career with the Flyers. Wallace. Kayla versus Kayla. George versus Thornton. Well done, Kayla Thornton. And then George comes back and wins it for the Boomers. Last minute 20 of the third. George against Thornton once again. Part 2 off to Wallace. Takes the quick jumper.
Well, that jumper was falling for her in the first quarter. Wasn't falling for her in the second quarter, so she'll be relieved that it went down.
Marching back to 3. Cole to try and double it, and does.
And Cole, best three-point shooter from last season. Mitchell, confronted by Pooch, needs support. Wallace versus Rochi. George provides the support. She's guarded by Ernst. Lovely feed through to Mitchell. And she'll go to the line. Landed awkwardly, though. And she is in a lot of pain, Tiff Mitchell. A lot of pain. Did Maddie Rochi come down on that ankle? Here's another look. It was an awkward landing. Oh, she just twisted herself as she collected Rochi, who pulled up sore as well. It was heavy contact. That doesn't look good for Tiff Mitchell. Boomers fans hold their breath. Aileen McKay out to assess it. Here's another look. Awkward. Really awkward. Immediately grabbing at that left leg. And it was such a good read again there. The Southside Flyers are overplaying in that corner, and she recognized that again. And she just cut so hard to the basket.
So there's going to be a delay here. Late in the third. Tiff hasn't moved. Aileen doing the assessment right there on the spot.
Well, you know, we have, I mean, Candy talked about some of the injuries of these teams, these two teams at the beginning of the program, but we know that for Canberra, Jade Mitchell went down in her game against, Jade Melbourne went down against Townsville, and she's going to be out for 3 or 4 weeks as well. So
an MCL sprain for her.
You just never want to see that from any players.
We've already spoken about the Boomers, as you mentioned, and the injury problems that they have. The bench is already pretty thin right now. There's Tess Madgen on the bench just talking to their players. They're going to need to reset here. It's a 6-point game with just over a quarter to play. And the Boomers at the moment have just lost their most dynamic playmaker. Tiff Mitchell overcame a couple of injuries last season, played through, toughed it out, ended up playing in a championship with the Boomers.
Right now she's got 14.6 rebounds, so she's been really critical in the game so far.
So Rachel Brewster looks like she's going to be checking into the game to take over from Tiff. 3 development players suited up tonight for the Boomers, so their options are limited.
You can see a picture of Christy Harrower there as the assistant coach. Would be really valuable with the guards. And there's Tiff Mitchell. So good to see her being able to walk off on her own steam.
She's so tough. She's so competitive. In super physical condition. Works hard at the gym and off the court. So fingers crossed for Tiff as she moves to the bench for further assessment. And Rachel Brewster will step in as her replacement. With 40 seconds left on the clock in the third term, as Tiff just stretches it out. So Brewster will go to the line to shoot those free throws for Tiff Mitchell. 50% free throw shooter, Rachel Brewster, across her 24 WNBL games. Spent 2 years as a development player at the Boomers before getting her chance on the senior list last season, but then had an ankle sprain and missed 8 games. So she comes into this season feeling like it's her time now. As Mitchell gets assessed by Jaylene McKay. Brewster goes to the line, makes the first.
So it'll be interesting to see. Sometimes an injury like that can almost galvanize a team, and they do some heroic things, and it can be a bit off-putting for Southside, or we just see that the depth will just be too much and overtake them.
Brewster makes them both. It's a 4-point game. Cole to Ernst.
They're in this 2-3 zone, Melbourne.
Back to Beck. Rochi thought about pulling the trigger on the 3. Ernst wants movement from Thornton. Gets it now. Finds some space. Tough finish. Davidson hand important to George. Now Murray. Wallace. Final play of the term for the Boomers. Can they come up with some points? Christie does. Deep 2 from Christie Wallace. Cole will have the final shot from half court. And at 3/4 time, the stage is set at the State Basketball Centre. The Boomers close again. It's a 2-point game. Flyers 51. It's been quite the struggle through three quarters, as we expected. The Flyers have led it just about exclusively. They led by 6 at quarter time, 7 at the half. The Boomers surging again late, 19 points to 14 in that third term, and they've reduced the margin to 2 points as we get set for final term action. Big crowd in State Basketball Centre on a Wednesday night for ESPN's WNBL Game of the Week. Fantastic to see these two great teams going at it in round 2 action. Cole off to Jackson. Here's Pooch. Back to Maddie Rocci. Feeds it through to Pooch. She's fouled.
Really good movement by Pooch. So she went to make a baseline cut, realized that the defense wasn't going with her, and just sort of went back and found the pass and was able to get herself to the foul line.
Super young athlete, future opal in the making, come through the Australian junior rep system, the under-19s, Dandenong Junior.
How good is it for somebody like her, Jason, to be playing with the likes of Lauren Jackson, Abby Bishop, Sarah Blitzovs? Like, they're just so experienced. She can learn so much from them.
As we were saying earlier, that blend of youth and experience in our league at the moment is just perfect. Davidson to George. Tries to get under the hoop, going against Bishop. Steps on the baseline in the process.
You'd have to say that Southside have done a great job of locking down Kayla. You know, while she's got 10 rebounds, offensively she hasn't been much of a threat at all. 5 points.
Pooch, Bishop, Cole. Jackson for 3. Here's Brewster.
I think every time Jackson shoots it, the crowd just holds their breath, hoping it'll go in.
Wallace and Pooch come together, and Wallace gives away the offensive foul. Laurie, your thoughts?
I think it was a good call.
And there's another on Christy Wallace. Just needs a little composure here. 2 quick ones, and that's a cheapie.
There's a lot of pressure on Christy Wallace, being really the only, you know, experienced point guard out there for the Boomers. She has to play big minutes. She has to run the team. She has to score. She has to defend their quicker players. I mean, she's up for it. She's a great, you know, she's
not
great.
Stepping back, is she? She just knocked that one away.
You know, and I'm so glad she's in our league and playing well. You know, she had a great WNBA season, and it's good to see her continuing.
Jackson. Flies, Boomers ball rather. Christy Wallace up to 3 fouls now. Melbourne Bigs have managed to stay out of foul trouble, which has been critical. Here's Wallace against Pooch. Brewster and Rocci. Some speed on the ball here. Lovely ball through from Murray to Davidson. Rocci read it well. Did enough to force the first fumble. He's the beneficiary. Lovely pass to Pooch. Lovely block from Murray.
She was so quick. It was like she went into second gear. If you watch this here, look, she's at the same pace as Rocci, and then just perks on the burners.
Mia Murray in to get a hand in as we go to Candy Hertz.
Hey, as you guys can see, Tiff checking back in. I did go and speak to the physios, and they said it was just a cramp. So seems that cramp's gone, and she'll be back in the game. Did go and listen as well to Cheryl. Now, like you said, Laurie, they are doing a really good job against Kayla George, but the focus still needs to be to keep boxing her out. Overall, though, she's pretty happy. She did say offensively they do need to make sure they're getting the ball inside and out of what looks like might be the Boomer zone.
Tiff Mitchell not moving very well at all right now. Limping around the court, but she'll grit her teeth and gut it out. As you mentioned, she played through injury last year as well. Pooch with the strip, and then the foul. Well played. Nadia Pooch having an influence here.
She is. She's having an influence at both ends of the court. Again, we see her streaking down the court, and just those long legs, just sprinting and finishing. But the other thing the Flyers are doing right now, they are getting up and in and not giving the Boomers any chance to do anything offensively.
Jackson to Bishop. The momentum back in the Flyers' favour once again here. It's ebbed and flowed all night. Rocci against Wallace. Rocci steps on the baseline. And Christy Wallace making a real point of keeping her hands behind her head as she was guarding there. trying to avoid a fourth foul, and in the end, Maddie Rocci stepped on the baseline.
I don't know about you, Jason, but I feel like the Flyers should be much further in front than they are. The Boomers are doing an excellent job of just hanging in there, making those few extra baskets when needed, but it's only a 5-point game.
There's a foul on Maddie Rocci. Let's have a look. Laurie?
Well, I mean, again, I just finished saying that they were up and in and not giving them any space whatsoever. I think that was a real, almost a 50-50 call, because you could see Mitchell raise her arm and try and get some space out of that.
Murray to Wallace.
I always think the refs have a tough job.
Mitchell and Bishop. Mitchell clears some space and finishes. Almost on one leg at the moment. Tiff Mitchell, margin back to 3. Rocci, Pooch, Bishop. Now Jackson and Blitzarves. Melbourne got the lane well protected. Bishop, Amy Rocci. Wheels around, gets inside the key and finishes. Five-point game. Mitchell draws a crowd. Murray, George. Can Kayla get busy in the final term? That one rattles out. There's a push called off the ball.
I think it was in the rebounding contest. Ododa just perhaps pushed in the back, tried to go over the back, but she certainly was competing.
Hasn't had the influence she would have liked tonight. Olivia Nelson-Ododa has found the going tough against this never-ending rotation of Southside talls, Laurie. It's been Nelson-Ododa and Davidson, and there's always a fresh one coming off the bench to come at you.
It's like a wave, you know, it just never stops. You just, one sub and another one comes up, and they can be just as aggressive because they've got enough. So if any of their bigs get in foul trouble, they just put another one in.
Cheryl Chambers with her side, 5 points up. Some confusion here. Maybe 2 shots for Nadia Pooch. Under 7 minutes remaining in the game. Flyers lead it by 5. Make it 6. To Davidson and now Mitchell. Starting to move much better. Wallace, tough shot off balance. Blitzarves pulls down the board. Amy Rocci accelerates. Uses Thornton. Blitzarves cuts to the hoop. Bishop now on the move. Rocci receives. Shot clock down to 7. Lovely find. Thornton out to Bishop with some space to pull the trigger.
That was so nice. The ball movement, the player movement, the spacing. They just had space for each other, so you could read what the defense is doing. When Kayla Thornton got that ball inside, kicked it right back out to a wide open Abby Bishop.
This timeout brought to you by AussieHoops.basketball. 42,000 participants registering to a local Aussie Hoops centre nearby. Introduce your kids, aged 5 to 10, to the world of basketball at AussieHoops.basketball. So listen to Cheryl Chambers. So the margin back out to 9 points. We've seen it up and down all night. Flyers get out around the double-digit mark. The Boomers suddenly, in the blink of an eye, managed to get it back to within a 1-possession game. Right now, they sit at 9 points with 6 minutes remaining. And it sort of feels like, Laurie, the next minute or two are going to be the defining factor here. Can the Boomers come again, or can the Flyers break them?
Exactly, and every single time the Boomers make that comeback, it just takes a little bit more effort, a little bit more energy out of them. So how much juice do they have left in this last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter?
Wallace versus Pooch. Mitchell. Murray. George back to Mia Murray. Oh, wouldn't go for the Boomers there. Rolled around the rim. And now a chance for Southside to land that blow that Cheryl Chambers was talking about. Can they get it back out to double digits once again? Pooch, Rochi, Thornton. Blitzarves tries to get into position against Murray and does. Can't quite finish. Ball still alive. Here's Wallace. Will she go herself or look for an option? Back out to Mitchell. Against the youngster Pooch. Southside ball. Amy Rochi. Bishop to Pooch. Good work from Mitchell. But Rochi regathers for Southside. Thought about the bounce pass through to Blitzarves. Wants to go herself. Did she get one? Wanted the call, won't get it. Boomers ball. Here's another look. Amy Rochi saying she got clipped across the head. There it was.
We have the benefit of watching a replay. Even I can't make a call out of that.
Wallace, George draws a crowd, can't finish as a result, but still there. Davidson, important scrap, but they come up with it. Southside. Thornton now wants to hit the accelerator. Pulls up at the arc, waits for support. Ernst, Rochi. Back to Carly. Can Southside land the killer blows from the free throw line? Blitzarves adds 2 more. 11-point game. Time now becoming a factor. Boomers have to surge again. Wallace, George, Mitchell. Just enough. A hand in there from Ernst. It's head courtside. Here's Candy.
Well, that was a really simple message from Chris in that timeout. In fact, he gave the team a breather for most of it, and in the end he just came in and said, you need to communicate better, you need to make sure that you are disrupting them, and he said, in regards to offense, just to be a little bit more patient.
Catch and shoot from Tiff Mitchell won't go. And the Flyers in control here. Rochi, Ernst, Blitzarves. Clock ticks down to 4:07. Rochi to Thornton. Shot clock down to 7. Back to Amy Rochi. Pooch set in the corner. And the dagger. Huge basket for the youngster. Marching out to 14.
Again, Jason, such good ball movement, just going from a good option to a great option. And the youngster nailing it from the corner.
Murray to respond. Can't do so. And the Flyers in control, complete control now. Marching at 14. Happy to just run some plays, go deep into the shot clock, chew through some clock. Pooch for another. Not quite. Mitchell. Boomers need to hustle here. Foul will be called on Lily Carmody, who's into the game. Exciting to see Lily, 16-year-old from Ormond Jets and the Bulleen Boomers, makes her WNBL debut tonight. Congratulations to her. What a great moment for Lily. So with 3:19 left on the clock, margin sits at 14 points. And Southside, their depth. We asked the question at the start of the night, could they wear down the Boomers, Laurie? It feels like they have.
And I don't think, Jason, it was so much, you know, we talked about their height, but I think it's definitely been their depth. They've been able to make sub after sub and not change the way they play, their style of play. They've still been able to go at them hard defensively. They've been able to run the floor. And if you look at it right now, you go, well, the Boomers, some of their shots right now are looking like tired shots. Whereas the Flyers, they're still running it down the throat of the Boomers and taking fast break options whenever possible.
Tiff Mitchell, great to see her back out there after that really nasty landing earlier in the turn.
Having said that, you just have to keep in mind with the Boomers that they do have a quality player in Tess Madgen coming back who will make a massive difference to this group. And during that time, you know, according to Chris Lucas, their defense is a work in progress, so they just have to keep plodding away. And Southside are clearly going to be one of the best teams this season.
So here's Lily. Big moment for her, and she makes her first. She's on the board in the WNBL. 16 years of age.
I coached Lily as a youngster at McKinnon Basketball Association.
Tell us a little bit about her, Laurie.
Oh, she always had this really fiery, you know, wanting to learn, never say die. Very coachable, but you could tell she always was going to try and set goals higher and higher.
Mitchell, George. Hasn't been Kayla's night. There's Lily fighting for it. Gets it out to Christy Wallace. George over the top, couldn't control it. Blitzarves does. Amy Rochi against Wallace. It's been a long night for Christy. And without Madgen and without Lily Scanlon, their backup point guard as well. Just having to play some massive minutes, at least for the next few weeks until Tess Madgen comes back and they start to get a bit of depth. They'll make a decision on replacement players once Tess is back and they know what the time frame on that is properly. You can then assess the lists and see if there's someone they can bring in as support, but in the meantime, they're going to make do with what they have. Blitzarves to Rochi. Final 2 minutes at the State Basketball Centre. Wonderful crowd on a Wednesday night for our ESPN WNBL Game of the Week. Catch us here every Wednesday night in your home of hoops, ESPN. Rochi against Murray. George got a hand on it. Christy Wallace has battled hard all night, as she always does. Here's George for three. Gets a late one. Kayla only joining the team on the Thursday before round one after taking some time off post-World Cup and becoming a mum with Pearl. She takes a seat. The side trail by 10 with 90 seconds left.
Such a different game for both these teams from round one, where they, you know, scored so freely in that. And certainly defense has upped the ante this week by both teams. Flyers keeping the Boomers to 55 points is a great effort.
So Lou Brown into the game. Nursing a finger injury. See the finger strapped up. Yeah, that'll test it. Lily can't quite finish. She scraps for it under the hoop. Well done, Lily Carmody again. The pass cut off by Cole. Carmody up in her face. Off to Thornton, who's happy to just slow things down. As we head for the final minute. Rochi. Jackson. Back to Rochi. LJ wide open. Short. Christy Wallace looking tired, why not? She's played massive minutes, had a huge workload tonight. Still in there battling, but that was a tired shot off the front of the rim. Kayla Thornton, all class once again. Southside's depth telling tonight. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with in 22-23, as will the Boomers, who are a work in progress. Still a long way from the finished product for Melbourne. Just got to grit their teeth and hang in through the early part of the season until they get fit and healthy. Foul there.
And it's a long season, Jason. Nobody has to be in panic mode at all. And you know, both coaches will, as you do, take things out of each game, improve for the next one.
So Lauren Jackson to the line. Final 20 seconds of the game. She was out there for 50 minutes signing autographs the other night. I'm sure it'll be much the same this evening. So great for Australian basketball. Final play of the game. Mitchell keeps on scrapping. She's fouled.
Well, thank goodness Tiff Mitchell came back onto the court and it was nothing serious. I'm sure she'll be a bit sore, but sore's okay.
Got a week off now to prepare for the next game, so...
Yeah.
Sorry, Sunday afternoon rather is their next game, their home opener against Adelaide, so she'll have 3 days to recover and prepare, but no travel required this weekend. And the Flyers go 2-0. Southside pick up game 1 of their season series against their arch rival. The Flyers with a week to prepare for the Fire in Townsville. The Boomers back in action against Adelaide on Sunday. It's the Flyers 67, the Boomers 57. They led at every change. They pretty much led all night. 6 at quarter time, 7 at the half, 2 at three-quarter time, and in the end they scored 16 points to 8 in that final term to run out 10-point winners and improve to 2-0 in 22-23.
It's nice to see them at the end of the game when you know they know each other so well, these two teams, and they play against each other all the time. They play together when they're in the Opals. You can see Tess Madgen, I'm sure she wishes she was out there. But a really great effort by both teams.
I expect both will be there when the whips are cracking later in the season.
And so game 1 of the Michelle Tim Cup goes to Southside Flyers.
Let's head courtside. Candy Hertz with Kayla Thornton.
Player of the game, Kayla, congratulations. What an exceptional night out here it has been tonight. And double-double for you, but an amazing team effort as well. Now, last round, it was all about the scoring. This round, all about the defense. What was the plan coming in?
Our defense. I think this team, we kind of struggled our defense. One of our main focus was defense this year, and I gave it to my teammates. They did an absolute great job. The Boomers are a good team, and we played team defense, and that's what won us the game tonight.
And, of course, some pride on the line with the Michelle Tim's Cup. How good is it to take out the first one?
I mean, I'm new here, so I really don't know. I just came in. They was like, they're our rivalry, so I said, okay, I just got to do what I got to do.
Great job out there, Kayla. It is great having you out here as well. So much fun to watch. Are you enjoying being in the league?
It's a blessing, and I'm honored that I'm able to play with the Southside Flyers, and, I'm excited.
Well, we love having you here, a ball of fun. A double-double for you tonight, and, of course, player of the match. Well done, Kayla, and the team.
Boomers, when they play them again, they'll want to tie it up to take it to that third game. But well done to both teams. Certainly the Flyers will be very, very happy to get that another home win, Jason.
Candy Hertz with Lauren Jackson.
Oh, wow. We are so lucky to have her here in our league. And, of course, on the court tonight, the GOAT, Lauren Jackson. How excited are you being back in the WNBL?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so much fun just to be out there and with this team. I mean, we've got a great group of girls, and it's a lot of fun.
And tonight, exciting to watch as well. So many opals on the floor. How are you seeing the level of the league lifting season on season?
Yeah, look, it's definitely lifting. It's a very physical league at the moment. But yeah, I think all of us have a long way to go. We're still sort of not playing the basketball that we want to be playing at the moment. But I think it's a long season, and we've just got to keep persisting. Well, you are definitely very lucky with a crowd like this as well, turning out Wednesday night here at the State Basketball Centre. How great is it having crowds like this back at the basketball? Yeah, no, it's awesome. We've had great momentum post the World Cup, and I think, we're going to keep seeing great crowds and great support for the women's game. I think we play a great style of basketball, and it's just a lot of fun to be out here. And when you can't hear anything on the court because the crowd's going berserk, it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun, and of course against your crosstown rivals, that's a little bit sweeter today, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously at the moment, I think any win is a good win. Like I said, I don't think any of us are playing the brand of basketball that we want to be playing at the moment. We're definitely not knocking down shots, or I know I'm not. But I think that, you know, as we keep getting better, we keep training together, and we get that time together, I think it's, you know, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, LJ, I know you think it's not the brand of basketball that you're enjoying, but we are definitely enjoying watching you out there. Congratulations on the win tonight.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Very exciting stuff here at the State Basketball Centre. She's right, it has been deafening all night, but an exciting way to finish and a good start to the Michelle Timms Cup.
9 points, 2 rebounds from 24 minutes. Inside to Arcuso, her first basket of the afternoon.
Look at the move from Steph Reed too. Little hezzy, look away, then cross up, finding Arcuso.
Reed. Pass comes away now. Ruth for three from outside. Didn't look like missing. Reed now trying to go to work on Burrell. Kicks it out to Nicholson for three, and a great start to the third quarter.
What a great start for Christy Wallace. We know how potent she is in the backcourt, in terrorising opponents defensively, and nothing but a beautiful steal there and a tough finish too.
Down to Bull Ace. Gets inside the paint. Nice finish.
Nice backdoor cut again. When they're overplayed, they really read the defense well.
Bull Ace with the finish. Bull Ace driving left. Great take. Izzy Bull Ace. What an opening game here in round one.
Opportunity, oh, great running of the lane from Nicholson. Ruth thinks about the three. Well, why not go to Nicholson? She's got the hot hand and hits another three. Lauren Nicholson. Ruth sends it down the court, and Nicholson having a real field day out there this afternoon. Lauren Nicholson.
It felt really good to be out there and just, you know, my kids were here and we had a great crowd. What I'm doing now, it's more just because I love the sport, and when I play, I have so much fun, I enjoy it.
Apologies, my fault on that occasion. Lauren Jackson, great to have her back. 24 minutes tonight, 9 points and 2 rebounds for Lauren Jackson as the Southside Flyers win it by 10 points. 67-57, Jason Bennett alongside Laurie Chiswick. And it felt like the Flyers, Laurie, had it in control for most of the night. Every time they tried to put Melbourne away, the Boomers, to their credit, managed to fight back and hang in. But in the end, the depth of the Southside Flyers just got them.
They did, and you know, it was like that momentum swings, and I was really impressed with the way the Flyers kept going, the Flyers kept ahead and kept that option.
Here's our round 2 games to come. One game down, an action-packed weekend of Cygnett WNBL. It continues on Friday night in Townsville. The Fire host the Lightning. As we take a look at our highlights. Olivia Nelson-Ododa, not a massive impact from her tonight. She had a really tough job against those rotating bigs for the Southside Flyers. They just kept bringing them off the bench and just throwing them at her.
They did, and it'll be good experience for her. And we see Penina Davidson there. She had some valuable time because, as you said, the Southside just kept throwing bigs after bigs after bigs after them.
Points in the paint tonight, interesting, 30-16 in favour of Southside. It was one of the decisive factors in the game, Laurie. 30-16, big discrepancy. That was Tiff Mitchell hurting herself late in the game. Christy Wallace was in everything. She and Mitchell fought hard. They finished with 33 points between them. They did a great job holding Kayla George, who had 10 rebounds, but only single-digit points for Kayla tonight.
Yeah, I think Kayla will probably be a little bit disappointed in her output. You know, she's the captain of the team, and she prides herself on what she does out there. But I have no doubt that she'll come back strongly.
Here's a look at the final numbers. Shooting percentage way down on last week, Laurie. We've returned to something that is more, I guess, considered regular transmission, although Chris Lucas will be hoping 29% ain't too regular.
Well, it's a little bit better scoreline defensively than we saw last week, but the Flyers 67, you know, they would hoping to score a little bit more with their wave of people, but Cheryl Chambers would be very happy with that result, and 57 to keep the Boomers too.
Look at those crowds, fantastic crowds at the State Basketball Centre tonight. Players on court signing autographs for the fans. They'll be there for the next 45 minutes to an hour, you would think. Turnovers were important tonight. The pressure from Southside, outstanding. In fact, the pressure from both teams was really, really good. But Southside in particular, they forced the Boomers into 20 turnovers. They had 13 themselves. But to force a team like Melbourne into 20 turnovers in a game would be a really pleasing performance for Cheryl Chambers.
And I thought that came mostly in the second half. I thought they must have talked about that at halftime, and they really amped up their defensive pressure. So they were up and they were in. They were really smothering the Boomers and not just giving them any chance to move freely on offense.
The Lauren Jackson singlet sold out in a heartbeat at the World Cup in Sydney, and I'm pretty sure the Southside Flyers would have put an extra stock request in to get more of those made up. They'll be really popular. And isn't it wonderful to see Lauren Jackson at the age of 41? She's been a superstar of the game for the last 25 years. And this is probably almost the third generation of basketball fans that will have Lauren Jackson's jersey on their back. As we take a look at the round 2 games to come, one down, an action-packed weekend ahead. Friday night in Townsville, the Fire and the Lightning. Then 2 games on Saturday night. The 2-and-zip Spirit host the Flames in Bendigo. The Lynx look to bounce back when they host the Caps in Perth. So 2-zip and 2 teams hunting their first win. Sunday, the Boomers will unfurl their championship banner before they face the Adelaide Lightning, who'll be playing the second leg of their 2-game road trip. So much to look forward to. You'll see me every game live streamed on 9 Now, and our ESPN Game of the Week right here every Wednesday night. And coming up next Wednesday night, we'll head to Townsville as the Fire host the Flyers. Promises to be a high-octane contest. 2 potential contenders going at it again. Laurie, Townsville so impressive in their opening round demolition of the Caps. Lauren Nicholson, Steph Reed up against Cole, Rochi, Hawkins versus Thornton. It's going to be a ripper.
Can't wait, Jason. Hopefully everybody can tune in next Wednesday again.
Next Wednesday night, ESPN's WNBL Game of the Week live from Townsville, 5:30 local, 6:30 Eastern. That wraps up our WNBL Game of the Week. The Flyers collecting their second win of the season. On behalf of Laurie Chiswick and the team, thanks for watching.